project. A temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service or result. Management. Activity coordinating the efforts of people to accomplish desired goals and objectives using available resources, for example, money, workers, equipment, manpower. Includes identifying requirements, establishing clear and achievable objectives, balancing competing demands for quality, scope, time and cost, adapting specifications, plans and concerns for the stakeholders. PM characteristics. 1. Management is goal-oriented process. 2. Multidimensional. 3. A continuous process. 4. Group activity. 5. Dynamic function. 6. Intangible force. Knowledge areas. Scope management, time management, cost management, stakeholder management, human resource management, communication management, procurement management, risk management, quality management, integration management, project management, checking, planning, organizing, motivating and controlling resources to achieve specific goals. Application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to protect activities to meet or exceed stakeholders' expectations while using resources efficiently and effectively. Project life cycle defines the phases that connects the beginning of a project to its end. A project is unique. Details, raw material extraction and processing, project manufacturing, distribution, use, end of life. Recycle, remanufacture, reuse, superuse. Direct cost. Energy, materials, labor, time, other resources. Indirect cost and overheads. Waste, environmental damage, land use, social issues, other effects. Project phases summary. Initiation. Requirements. Scope. Duration, start. Location. Budget. People involved. Client. Owner. Consultant. PM. Design phase. Requirements. Details. Conceptual arch drawing. Equipment. Materials. Technical issues. Drawings, materials, specs. People involved. Consultant. Owner. Planning phase. Requirements. Scheduling. Plan. People involved. Owner. Arch. Civil engineer. Mechanical and electrical. PM. Bidding phase. Requirements. Formal contract documents. Contractor appointing. Municipality approval. People involved. Owner. Consultant. PM. Execution phase. Requirements. Monitoring and control for activities and processes. Procurement. Progress, completion, payment. People involved. Owner. Supervision. Consultant. Contractor. PM. Closing phase. Requirements. Warranty period. Maintenance. Lessons learned. As-built drawings. Checklist. People involved. Owner. Supervision. Consultant. Contractor. PM. Projects. Performed by people. Constrained by limited resources. Planned, executed and controlled. Temporary. Unique. Operations. Performed by people. Constrained by limited resources. Planned, executed and controlled. Ongoing. Repetitive. Primary objectives. Time, quality, cost. Secondary objectives. Flexibility, sustainability, cost, risk, responsibility, certainty, complexity. Relation between primary and secondary objectives. Time, flexibility, sustainability. Cost, risk, responsibility, quality, certainty, complexity. PM triple constraints. Time, cost, scope. Frederick Taylor analyzed work patterns and behavior and found out that better methods can increase the productivity. Henry Gantt studied the order of work operations in great detail. Developed charts which details the progress in large projects. Charts used ever since. Project Management Institute. 1969. Launched to promote project management as its own profession. Advocacy for the profession, setting professional standards, conducting research, providing access to info and resources. 260,000 members, 171 countries. PM certifications. Associate in Project Management. Project Management Professional. Construction Project Characteristics. 1. Defined goal. 2. Specific tasks not routinely performed. 3. A defined beginning and end. 4. Defined deliverables. 5. Resources being consumed. Inertive nature of a project. Decision making. Important to get good advice early in the project, initiation phase. Progression. Projects build up slowly as workers and equipment are brought to the project and mobilized. Early on only a few activities may occur, but once mobilization is complete, work proceeds at a rapid pace until the end, when production slows down and the last remaining items are wrapped up. S-curve reflects this. Line represents cash flow and project completion. 3 curves, actual, expected, and initial. Engineering. Heavy or horizontal construction. Highway, railroad, bridges, utility, dams. Industrial. Emphasis on production. Project requires a unique team to plan, design, construct and maintain the project. By use. Residential building construction. Commercial and institutional construction. Infrastructure in heavy construction. Industrial construction. Environmental construction. Categories of construction projects. By size, by ownership, by scope. Residential construction includes single-family houses and apartment building complexes. Privately funded by individual owners or developers. Developers serve as surrogate owners and take charge, making contractual agreements for design and constructors and financing the sale of the completed structures. Designs performed by architects and engineers. Construction executed by builders who hire subcontractors for the structural, mechanical, electrical and other specialty work. Industrial projects involve large-scale projects with a high degree of technological complexity such as oil refineries, steel mills, chemical processing plants and coal-fired or nuclear power plants. Owners are deeply involved in development. Prefer to work with designers builders such that the total time for the completion of the project can be shortened. Commercial buildings. Schools, universities, medical clinics, hospitals, sports stadiums, shopping centers, warehouses, offices, hotels. Privately funded, though some projects like schools, courthouses and city offices are publicly funded. Owner may or may not be familiar with construction industry practices, but are usually able to select competent professional consultants and arrange the financing of the constructed facilities. Themselves. Specialty architects and engineers engaged for designing a specific building. Builders' contractors may also be specialized only in that building. Infrastructure and heavy construction include highways, mass transit systems, tunnels, bridges, pipelines, drainage systems and sewage treatment plants. Publicly owned and therefore are sensitive to governmental policy. Characterized by a high degree of mechanization which has gradually replaced some labor-intensive operations. Designed principally by civil engineers and built by heavy construction contractors having engineering backgrounds or support. Environmental construction, dealing with projects that improve the environment. Includes sanitary sewers, waste management and clean water. Management process. 1. Clear goals. 2. Problem solving, investigations to come to solutions. Constant communication. 3. Develop a detailed plan, lays out tasks, establishes resources, budget and schedule parameters. 4. Control the project, mobilize contractors, suppliers and vendors, and evaluate their progress. Hierarchy. Owner. Contractor. Greater than PM. Greater than onset. Greater than tech. Greater than mech. Consultant. Managing a project includes identifying the requirements, establishing clear and achievable objectives, balancing competing demands for quality, scope, time, and cost, adapting specifications, plans, and concerns of the stakeholders, stakeholder, project manager, customer, performing organization, sponsor, team, internal external, end user, society, citizens. Project management team must identify stakeholders, determine their needs and expectations, manage and influence those expectations. Program Management Office, organization under which projects can be centralized and coordinated. Meeting stakeholders' objectives, balancing competing demands, scope, time, cost, quality. Stakeholders with different needs and expectations. Identified requirements and unidentified requirements. Stakeholder management is a proactive task. Project manager must identify all stakeholders and incorporate their needs into the project. Kickoff, contract signing, project phases, program phase, design phase, procurement phase, production phase, program phase. Client has an idea about the project and analyses conditions for its execution. Design phase. Architects and engineers produce construction drawings according to the client's requirements. Procurement phase. The client appoints a contractor to carry out the project. Depending on the form of contract, it follows either the program phase or the design phase. Production phase. Finally, the contractor executes the job. Overviews the different models existing. Example for duties as per contractor's responsibilities throughout project timeline. Risk factors. External, market situation, architect's plans arrive too late, complicated client, weak construction management, bad building contracts, economic, physical, political. Internal, subsoil, project duration too short, architecturally sophisticated, complicated, labor, site, materials, subcontractor. Global, construction, design, location, environmental, time frame, management, financial. Planning components. What? Scope. How much dollar? Budget. Who? Wbs. How? Wbs. When? Schedule. Commencement date. Start day onset. Benefits of work breakdown structure. Defining and organizing project work. Project budget can be allocated to the top levels of the Wbs. Department budgets quickly calculated. Project schedule and budget can be quickly developed. Identify project cost performance and identify issues and problem areas in the project organization. It's about detailing, no longer about estimation, it's actual calculations. Organizational breakdown structure. Hierarchy definition of the team involved. Who is there and what is their work? Displays organizational relationships and then uses them for assigning work to resources in a project. Allows complex projects to be broken down, providing a more organized representation of the work. Provides an organizational structure for the project as it moves to completion. Main intent is to communicate how those tasked with delivering the project will be organized and structured as a project team. Allows for the appropriate resources and responsibilities to be assigned. Work breakdown structure. Allows an at-a-glance look at the organizational resources structured in a hierarchical manner. Key project deliverable that organizes the team's work into manageable sections. Used to define the project during early stages of its cycle. Visually defines the scope into manageable chunks that a project team can understand. Need to make a plan based on the tasks involved. Wbs Sample. Construction of a house. Internal. Greater than electrical. Greater than plumbing. Foundation. Greater than excavate. Greater than steel erection. External. Greater than masonry work. Greater than building finishes. Wbs Sample. Project team. Project development. Procurement. Production. Engineering design. Greater than process. Greater than automation. Greater than electrical. Greater than mechanical. CAD. Pipe services. Engineering. Senior Engineer 1. Senior Engineer 2. Roles for. State. Department of Environmental Protection. Department of Transportation. State Inspector General. Local. Building Development. Fire and Police. Citizens. Conservation Law Foundation. Historic Review Commission. Business Roundtable. Related to investments. Designers. Civil engineers. Transportation engineers. Architects. Graphic designers. Construction. Project managers. Construction contractors. Material suppliers. Equipment suppliers. Labor. Consultants. Testing laboratories. Surveyors. Public relations. Construction. The process by which many parties came together to form a permanent facility using material, equipment and machinery to assemble it. Involves many businesses and agencies. Work together for a few years and then move on to different projects. Service industry more than a manufacturing or project-based industry. Built based on human needs. Designer and constructor operations become more complicated BC of technology. Design phase outputs. Designed using a computer CAD. Project phases optimized through BIM. Consultant roles. Testing laboratories. Surveyors. Public relations. Reporting quality control, project managers, etc. Can be all over. Construction roles. Project managers. Construction contractors. Material suppliers. Equipment suppliers. Labor. State roles. Department of Environmental Protection. Department of Transportation. State Inspector General. Local roles. Building development. Fire and police. Citizen roles. Conservation Law Foundation. Historic Review Commission. Design roles. Civil engineers. Transportation engineers. Architects. Graphic designers. Owner. The party that will pay the bills as well as receive the ultimate benefits of the finished project. Can be. Individuals seeking a home. Organization. Municipality. Developer. Responsibilities. Determine scope, schedule and budget. Takes advice from consultant. 2 categories, public, private. Public owner. Exists for the benefit of the general public. Ex-municipalities, libraries, interstate highways. Under umbrella of government. Financing from local state. Can be done through public agencies like Department of Transportation or State Public Works. Specific method for managing projects. Get public approval in specific schedule and budget. Projects publicly advertised. Wager rates advertised. Owner representative. Facility managers, most common owner representative. Found in large organizations and institutions like schools, universities and hospitals. Job is to understand the goals and objectives of their organization and ensure that facilities are planned to support them. Outside consultants, small organizations without large in-house departments often hire consultants. Private owners. Any individual, partnership, corporation or institution that builds a project for its own use or for resale. Have much more freedom. Invite designers to compete for their project. Homes, shopping malls, hospitals, universities. Includes homeowner, multinational companies. Developers owns project only for duration of project. Goal is to make money through quick sale or long-term rental. Facility managers. Most common owner representative. Found in large organizations and institutions like schools, universities and hospitals. Job is to understand the goals and objectives of their organization and ensure that facilities are planned to support them. Outside consultants. Small organizations without large in-house departments often hire consultants. Design professionals. Architects, architecture, drafters, specification writers, interior designers, landscape arch. Engineers, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, civil engineers, surveyors. Leader for the design. Depends on nature of the project. On building and residential projects. Architects are lead designer. Engineer brought in after basic concept is worked out before details are developed. On infrastructure and industrial sector projects. Engineer is the lead designer. Architect is brought in to work on the aesthetics. Civil engineers. Determine project location on a site by studying the subsurface soil conditions and the topography of the land. Design roads, bridges, tunnels, parking lots, stormwater drainage, and sewage treatment plants. Structural engineers calculate the deflections, foundation sizes, beam thickness and strength of floor slabs. Ensure that building can withstand forces of wind and seismic gravity. Surveyors, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. Contract types: single fixed price, unit price contract, cost plus a fee. Constructors, estimators, schedulers, purchasing agents. Party who brings together all the different elements of the construction process into single concentrated effort. Responsible for the interpretation of the contract documents and physical construction of the project. Contracts: an agreement between two or more parties representing a promise which one person agrees to perform a specific task or provide goods or a service to another in exchange for something in return. Classification of contractors: prime general - responsible for construction of entire project. Subcontractor specialty - responsible for construction of a limited aspect such as plumbing, heating, electrical, etc. Professional construction management services: when constructors are hired earlier and asked to provide technical, cost and scheduling advice to the owner. Constructor acts as a constructing consultant. Wbs. Owner initiates contract. W. Prime contractor. Prime contractor signs. W. First tier subcontractors. First tier contractors sign. W. Second tier subcontractors. Owner. Prime contractor. Greater than concrete. Greater than electrical. Greater than steel erection. Greater than mechanical. Sprinklers. Plumbing. Risk categories: 1. The work environment. 2. Technical complexity. 3. The process. 4. Owner organization. Estimators work with design drawings and prepare a list of completed job costs. Need to understand construction process. Detail-oriented and well-organized. Knowledge about costs for labor, materials, and equipment. Estimating is a computerized activity. Scheduler. Planner. Need to understand construction process. Need to define construction activities. Need to understand relationship among activities. Strong background in construction, but learn actual skill on the job. Monitor job process, coordinate subcontractors, analyze changes and impacts of delays, solve problems. Purchasing agents. Procurement. B. Subcontracts once job is won. Negotiates to get best price while making sure all contract requirements met. Understand building materials, prices, and construction process. Have a broad business sense. Persuasive. Material vendors. Ensure materials needed arrive to project site on time in correct form. Equipment manufacturers. Equipment may be purchased or rented. Financial institutions. Determine where the money will come from and terms and conditions of funding. Government officials. Involved early in Project W respect to zoning approvals and issuing building permits. Insurance. Property insurance to owner. Liability insurance to designers.
Bonding insurance to constructor. Lawyers advise clients on ways to minimize liability and risk. The process. X project funding, timetable currency, pre-construction information, project unknowns. Can also carry with it a certain level of risk. Any project that carries strict funding requirements and/or a rushed timetable will have a high level of risk. This is because commitments may have to be made with incomplete information or some of the early planning. Owner organization. X sophistication, organizational structure, decision making. Sophisticated organizations with a past project experience, a committed project team and an empowered decision maker will be able to handle project risks better than unsophisticated owners. The work environment. X country, location, neighbors, regulatory environment, job site conditions, economic market conditions. The more congested and environmentally sensitive the site and the more difficult the subsurface conditions, the higher the risk. Inner city locations, Soil with hazardous materials from prior use and sites that have unstable subsurface conditions would all be characterized by having a high level of risk. Technical complexity. XMNE, degree of finishes, product availability, materials, technologies, equipment. The level of technology employed and to some degree the project's risk level. Projects with known technologies, readily available materials and average finishes carry less risks than those that involve unknown technology and unusual materials. Procurement delivery methods. Key requirements for selection, identifying the client, his needs, and objectives. Also, identifying the parties involved. Define it in a way that has no bias. Procurement systems. Traditional procurement system. Designate build the procurement system. Management contracting procurement system. Cost reimbursement procurement system. Partnering procurement system. Project risk and liability. The nature of any project is very risky, but each project carries its own set of additional risks that may be based on an aggressive schedule or a particular location or politically charged environment. Traditional procurement. Method developed to satisfy client. Client appoints consultant to design and control the cost. After design stage, client appoints main contractor to start project. Client has full control over design quality. Best bid is obvious. Used in complex projects, technically advanced and highly serviced buildings. When to use traditional procurement. Complex projects. Consultant design is warranted. Client wants to appoint owners and designers separately. Price certainty wanted before construction. Product quality required. Balance of risk placed between client and constructor. Advantages of traditional procurement. Many options. All tendering contractors bid at the same time. Justice. Client's direct influence. Certainty of price as soon as you get contract. Changes in contract easily applied. This method is familiar in the market. Disadvantages of traditional procurement. Project cannot start before design phase is finished. Overall project can take longer. Client can't make updates to the design by the contractor in construction phase. BC it was not done during the design stage. Design and build. Contractor responsible for both design and construction. Contract made with client detailing design, cost, and the time needed for completion of the project. Contractor accepts full responsibility for design. Certainty of final cost. Overlap of design and construction saves time. Improved communication. When to use design build. Building functional rather than aesthetic. Building is simple. Brief for scope is likely to change. Single organization takes responsibility for risk of design and construction. Simpler projects with inexperienced clients. Common in repeated work and prefabricated. Advantages of design and build. Reduces need to provide resources and time by providing designers and contractors together. Final price in beginning. Stimulates innovations and reduces time and cost. Disadvantages of design and build. Changes in project after design stage costly. Difficult to compare between bids. Design required by limited standard contracts available. Client should understand conditions of project at an early stage. Client has no experience in preparation of work or understanding the market. Management procurement. Commonly used in fast-track projects, large complex projects of long duration. Also used in problematic circumstances. Categories. Management contracting. Construction management. Designate manage. Advantages of management procurement. Early involvement of contractor. Overlapping between design and construction saves time. Design flexibility throughout project's duration. Disadvantages of management procurement. Risks passed to client. Quality and site difficult to manage. Reduction in cost certainty. More expensive. When to use management procurement. Contractor hired to manage entire project. Fees are paid by contractor. Benefits a client who cares about quality, time, and key objectives. Management contracting. Most of the risk is on the client because there isn't clarity on cost or program bids. Used in large and complex projects. Flexibility is a key requirement. Projects that require labor, materials, and supply. Projects that need different contractors. Advantages. Completion on time in good quality. Disadvantages. Expensive, not good for inexperienced client. Construction method. Similar to management contracting. Contract made directly between client and commercial contractor. Difference, having a supervisor for the client at the site as well as supervision of the various departments. Appropriate method for client experienced in construction. Client gets separate contract with consultants and contractors. Construction manager provides management services as a consultant. Advantages of construction management. Client will work directly with contractor. High degree of cost control. Client participation in contract from beginning to end. Owner involvement with all parties. Design and manage. Similar strategy to management contracting. Contractor paid fee to manage and assume responsibility, not only for the works and contractors but also for the design and design team. Advantages of design and manage. Client dealing with one organization firm. Creates opportunity to improve cooperation between teams, design team, and construction team. Overlapping design and construction phase. Saves time. Improve constructability by constructor in design. Roles, responsibilities, and risks for all parties are clear. Design is flexible to changes. Disadvantages of design and manage. No clarity in cost. Client loses direct control over quality of design that's under constructor. Client thus to supervise ongoing work needs experience. Cost reimbursement. Separating responsibility and management in design and production. Start working immediately without needs for details of the contract. Final cost is non-specific. No price till work is completed. Contract documents on basis of information in schematic design, specs, and price charts. Used in emergency work, renovations and general maintenance. Collaborative procurement. Long-term commitment between two or more organizations. Enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of work in terms of cost and opportunities for innovation and continuous improvement of product quality and service. Requires development of relations between different parties. Commitment, trust, cooperation.